In this video, I reveal the 7 must-sees of Egypt. The most common ways to travel Egypt is to buy a package tour and see all the main attractions in 10 or 12 days. But if you choose to see every single thing on the schedule, your days will be packed with the attractions and you will be exhausted when you return to your hotel. So here's what to choose if you want your trip to Egypt to actually feel like a vacation. A traditional trip to Egypt begins in Cairo, and of course, you need to see the pyramids. It's one of the 7 wonders, and it's dated more than 2,500 years BC, and it's just amazing giant monuments when you stand right next to them. If not for the age of them, the precision in which they're built and the geometry is just amazing. And when you know that each block weighs more than 2,500 kilos, which is 5,000 pounds, it's just unbelievable how they build these giant monuments so precisely. This is a must visit. And if you're in Cairo and want to see a museum, I recommend to stop at the New Egyptian Museum. There's a really great exhibition built like a tomb, and you will be passing over the mummies and the sarcophagus. It's really set the scene, the way the exhibition is built. It's also a big hall with an exhibition with all Egyptian history from way back and up till now. And it will take about an hour to see all of it, and it's really well presented. But of course, it's much easier if you have a guide that can tell you all the details. So if you're in Cairo, of course, you should see the pyramids, but I think you should see the New Egyptian Museum as well. Next stop is Luxor, and there's a lot to see. If you had to choose between the Karnak Temple and the Luxor Temple, I would definitely recommend you visit the Karnak Temple. The Karnak Temple is the greatest temple complex ever built anywhere in the world. It's more than 5,000 square meters. It's nearly 2,000 square miles. It's really huge. The Karnak Temple has the biggest pillar hall anywhere in the world. It consists of 134 pillars. The largest one are 22 meters high, 77 feet high, and the biggest of them are 3 meters in diameter. And when you stand beside them, it's just unbelievable how this is ever built. It's really amazing. The temple area opens at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if you come when it opens, you can see the sun rising just in between the buildings. And it's just a really amazing sight. And if you come this early, you will have it almost to yourself. Later in the day, the area will be packed with tourists and it will be difficult to take your pictures. I highly recommend you visit Valley of the Kings or Valley of the Queens. Before you choose between these two, you should know that Valley of the Kings, all the decorations show more of the religious life than the decorations in Valley of the Queens. On the other hand, in Valley of the Queens, the tombs are more well preserved. They are very colorful and they are very beautiful to visit. When you visit Valley of the Kings, most of the tombs that are included in your entrance ticket, they're not so well preserved. So if you want to see some colorful tombs and how it looked in the ancient Egypt when the tombs were built, you need to pay extra to get into some of the special tombs. Not all the tombs are open every year, so it varies which tombs you can see. I visited Seti the first tomb. It was 1,000 Egyptian pound extra. It's about $20 or euros. And it was really worth it. It was an amazing tomb. It was so colorful and it was really beautiful. You should also know that you cannot bring your guide into the tombs. It's not allowed. So if you're not an expert in understanding all the decorations of the ancient Egypt, I highly recommend that you find a guidebook and your guide can show you the pictures and tell you about them before you enter into the tombs. This way, you can better recognize the things that your guide told you to look for in the tomb. If you find this helpful so far, please give it a thumbs up so the information can spread to more people. A must-see in Luxor is Queen Nefertari's tomb in Valley of the Queens. You have to pay $20 or euros extra to see this tomb, but it's really worth it. It's a really big tomb, and when you enter down the tomb, it's several plateaus, and right from the entrance, everything is really colorful. There's gold, and it's just really, really beautiful. And when you see how colorful this tomb is, you really realize how everything looked in the ancient Egypt, because all the temples were decorated in colors like these as well, but now the colors are washed away, and you can only see the sandstone. So visiting this tomb in particular gives you a really great idea of what all the temples looked like in the ancient Egypt. Valley of the Queens is really close to Valley of the Kings, so I highly recommend to stop by. It's right on the way. Something that many people choose not to do is to get up really early in the morning, actually 4 o'clock in the night, and go on a hot air balloon tour. This is just before sunrise. So when you're up in the balloon, you will see the sunrise and it's really beautiful. Then you will soar over Valley of the Kings and Valley of the Queens. You will see some of the big temples, and it's just a really beautiful ride. The flight in the hot air balloon will take about an hour to see the ancient Egypt from a hot air balloon, and it's all quiet and the sun is rising. It's just an amazing experience, and you wouldn't want to miss it. The basket of the hot air balloon is quite big, and it's divided into squares for 4 people. The passengers cannot walk to one side and the basket will tip. It's not possible. It's actually quite safe. I'm a little bit afraid of heights, but I didn't feel unsafe at all. When you arrive at Aswan, there are 2 main attractions, the Aswan Dam and the Abu Simbel Temple. But there's actually a third one that will ensure that you can really enjoy all the greatness of the Aswan Dam. So let's start with the Aswan Dam. This huge dam was built to make sure the flood of the Nile was more controlled so the harvest wouldn't get ruined. The dam is a huge structure. It's almost 4 kilometers long. It's almost 2.5 miles. It's more than 100 meters high, 360 feet, and is 1 kilometer wide, which is close to half a mile. But when you're standing on a dam, you can only see the top of it. And when you take a picture, it's almost like you're just standing in the side of a road. You cannot really see the greatness of the dam when you're standing on it. I would recommend you visit the Friendship Monument. It's a high tower and you can pay a little extra to take the elevator to the top. It's a really beautiful symmetric construction, but you can see really far when you're up in the tower, and actually you can see the dam from the air, and you can really see how huge and enormous this construction of the dam is. The Friendship Monument is right on the way to the dam, so after you visit the dam and seen all the posters telling about how they built the dam, you can go up to the tower and you can see the dam from the air, and you can really take in the greatness of this construction. The Abu Simbel temples are almost 300 kilometers south of Aswan. So if you want to visit the temples, you need to leave your cruise boat at 5 o'clock in the morning. It will take 3.5 hours to drive to the temples. The cruise boat will make a breakfast bag for you. And on the way to the temples, you will stop in a cafe where there's a restroom and you can have breakfast. You will arrive at the temple at 9 o'clock in the morning. And you might think, why not drive a little later? Because this is too early to get up. But then you will arrive at the temples midday where the sun is at the highest and the heat is just exhausting. Of course, the temperature is lower inside the temples, but there's a long queue to get into the temples. And you have to stand directly in the sun to wait to get into the temples, even though you arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do bring a fan or a hat because it can be really hot, and remember to bring a bottle of water. Even though you have to get up early, and you might think, is this worth it? It's going to be a whole day. I'm just going to see 2 temples. I would definitely recommend you to go. This is so beautiful. This is 2 temples, one for Ramses II and a smaller temple for his divine wife, Queen Nefertari. Both the temples are carved into the cliff. The entrance for the temple has 4 big statues of Ramses II. They're 22 meters high, 77 feet. They're almost identical. And actually, one of the statue have lost some of the head and it has fallen to the ground. You can see the ear, and it's just enormous. You cannot really realize it when you're standing on the ground how big it is. But when you're standing right next to the ear, you realize this is huge. The temple is highly decorated with hieroglyphs and the symbols of the ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians, they made this temple to worship the king, and they built it so the sun will strike his face in a statue in the very far end of the temple. 60 meters deep into the cliff, 200 feet, twice a year, the morning sun will strike his face. Isn't that amazing? The temple for his queen, Nefertari, is also really amazing. It's right next to it and it's built similar. It's carved into the cliff and it's really beautiful. But knowing all of this, you should also know that it's kind of an illusion because it's not really carved into the cliffs, because this is not where the temples were originally. The original side of the temples are covered with water from the Lake Nasser. So they moved the temples from a lower position up the mountainside to a higher position so the water wouldn't reach it. It took 4 years to move it. It took all the pieces, took them apart, and assembled them again. And that alone is worth a visit. So if you have to choose between all the temples of Egypt, I would say go for the Karnak and the Abu Simbel. Of course, the rest of the temples are really beautiful as well and worth a visit, of course. But if you have to choose these 2. Karnak is the biggest one, and Abu Simbel is just the most amazing. If you're traveling to Egypt, make sure to watch this video next. I reveal some insider tips on how to avoid the aggressive salesman, the stomach flu, a huge phone bill, how to choose the best hotels and the best time of years to travel here, and how to avoid the massive overload of perfume.